I live in Goa. I've been living here for 5 years now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So tell me more about you. I'm very curious.
So, Kartikeya, I am really impressed and excited about, I'm talking to you and your experiences. Like, I was just going through your kind of books and the food travel which you have done. This is like, wow. I am like really happy that I'm going to share my experiences with you today.
Yeah, I
So
want to
let
hear
me tell you
about it.
something about myself. So I am an ex-media first professional. I was into advertising. I was into print media, radio, and with an advertising company as well. Post motherhood, I took a break, and that was for something good because I discovered a lot of things which I was not able to, really know about my own self while I was into corporate life. And right now, I'm a mental health coach primarily
Hmm.
and lifestyle influencer, which obviously mom parenting and other aspects which I touch. I have two lovely boys. My elder son is going to be 9 very soon,
Nice.
and yeah, the younger one is 6 years old. And yeah, a good small cute family.
Lovely. What was the tipping point that got you off the advertising field and away from the corporate world? What happened?
So actually, I when while I was expecting my elder one, so there was like I was not keeping very well on my health fronts. So during the time when I was about to deliver, I took a break. So it was like a year's break. Officially, it was. I mean, I was granted by my company, but then while I was there, so there were so many new learnings I was having as an individual because becoming a mother is a totally new life. And then I underwent some depression and I underwent some kind of, treatments for that. So, and then I gradually started understanding that this field is so it's so vast and it's so undiscovered in India, especially that people don't talk about postpartum depression. Postpartum depression, and there are many things which they don't really accept it. Now the times have changed. So when you talk to somebody and you say that, okay, I am feeling little low for this reason, like I have become a mother, but I'm feeling little low because I am missing my free life, which is a very natural thing.
Yeah.
But if we say that to people now, they would understand that we are going through some emotional turbulences because of a change in life. But earlier, back in the days, it was like you are the most ridiculous mother I have ever known. As this is the kind of a reaction would come to you that motherhood is the best thing. How can you even feel bored, or you can even feel
But
disturbed or
this was
low?
coming more from older generation people, or
No,
like your
I, wo-
friends?
I no, I would say that we think that it's only from the older generation, but it's not like that. Until and unless you are experiencing the same, your age people also would say who have not gone through any such kind of feelings, because everybody doesn't go,
Yeah.
like with this postpartum depression.
Everyone is
So who has
different.
not experienced it, that person will also say it's okay, हो जाएगा, you don't need to worry, हो जाएगा, क्या है, कौन सी बड़ी बात है, things like that would come.
Hmm.
अरे सभी माँ बनते हैं. So it's not that only old generation, it was even the same generation, my own like friends, relatives, cousins of the same age group also.
So a lot of
This
judgment was coming towards you.
yes, lot of judgment was coming, and I guess a mother goes through that the most. And when I just saw that this area is very undiscovered, and I really feel that I like talking to people, and I was anyways talking and counseling people just like that. It was like without any certification, without any, I always used to give a comfort ear to a lot of people. So when I was going through this, I thought that this the most important thing is that you need some one person whom you can actually talk and share without getting judged. So that was the trigger point. Then I I looked around things, and then I thought that becoming a mental health coach and helping people live happily and in peace with their own self, it would be something which I can give back to the society. So
Right. And is it you found therapy at that time, or you found some practices that helped you deal with this, or how did you overcome kind of these judgments and these?
I found a therapist. So one of my colleague, who was my corporate colleague, his wife was practicing clinical psychology and things like that. So he used to often speak about her, and then at that point of time it suddenly clicked to me. So I spoke to her and I took sessions from her. And we really she really helped me out. After doing a few counseling sessions and things like that, and then I started understanding from her what is it exactly, and how we can help others, and how should I do some kind of a certification to become a coach kind of. So yeah, I definitely had somebody whom I knew. It was not like that I just went to a consultant without knowing. Yeah, I knew about her, and I went and I spoke to her.
And are you working as a mental health coach specifically for mothers right now?
So yeah, I'm working as a mental health coach for new moms and kids below 10 years. So
Okay.
how this kids thing came in during the COVID times, and again I could see a lot of behavioral changes in my own kids, and even
Can you share some examples, like what kind of changes in kids? I'm curious because COVID happened and we know everybody changed, but I'm not sure how it impacted kids.
Yeah, so isolation, loving isolation, getting agitated on the smallest of thing. Though my younger one was very young, but my elder one was showing this agitation, and he used to frequently cry and break the kind of a meltdown on any small thing, because he was totally in like Bombay flats. We don't have big villas like Goa here, right? So
I also live in a small apartment, by the way. It's not a villa.
So yeah, so those, that space constraint, a lot of things, and schooling started. So online schooling again became one thing which, like, they were just restricted to the screen. So their whole life was just screen. It was in form of, so learning hours, or post that, because they cannot be outdoors, so they will spend time doing things like that only.
So no socialization, no social skills, no emotional skills.
Exactly.
All of these things.
Exactly. So that is where I just started feeling that there is a need, there is a gap over here.
You feel that kids, especially kids who are, let's say your older one, who are in the age of 5 to 10, where they're developing so much and they have kind of awareness now to know what's happening. They kind of went through a big, everybody went through a generational trauma with COVID, but with these kids it was a big trauma, bigger than others, because they were just kind of, few years of their childhood were just taken away from them in some ways.
So yes, 5 to 10, in fact I would say kids 2 to 6 were more affected.
Okay.
Why? Because the kids who were at the age of 2, they could not start on their schooling, whether it's a preschool or whether it's their a formal school. So as well as they had hardly any experience of social interactions, because even when you live in a society, they had no chance to go down in the building and play with other kids of their age or the elder, or like in a group or something like that. So I guess the kids from 2 years and above, they suffered more. 2 to 6 years is, I think, was the most people, because that is the learning, the very early learning and the foundation years.
Right.
Little elder kids were okay because they got used to online schooling very soon, and they found their own ways of keeping themselves busy with, other things, like maybe again in some or the other way, online reading, online gaming, and etc. things, everything related, electronic that ways.
But everything online nowadays, man, it scares me a bit, I have to say.
It is. So for that also, so when again then how I got into mental health of kids. So I mean, with their school, I started with my kids' school only. So once the principal just called me and she said that you are doing a lot of counseling to people. So can you help us counseling some kids also? And so I started over there, and that's how it started. That okay, now as many as kids I'm interacting with, I am talking to, I'm getting to know more issues, so I'm trying my best that I can help them also.
How are they able to like figure out a way to provide kids with this balance of technology and physical reality? Where, like, because technology, even for adults now, it's a very socially accepted addiction now. Actually, it's an addiction, and it's socially accepted. So how? But at least for adults, they have this ability to reverse it because we didn't grow up with this. So our brains didn't develop with screens all the time. But kids nowadays, they are growing up with screens all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's their reality. They don't know anything else. So how do we find a balance with that, especially with kids?
So okay, I will take my own example only. So I have screen time tokens for my boys. So that is like 15 minutes every day. So that particular 15 minutes token they can use either to watch an episode, or they want to use the whole 15 minutes 7 days together on a Saturday or a Sunday and watch a movie. That's up to them. So I've left it up to them that this is what you have. Now you come to me, take a token, watch your time, and get back to whatever your activities, and keeping them physically so busy after school. So as soon as they come back, it's not that they are into too many classes, but they are doing things which they like. Like my elder one loves dancing and he likes going to football.
But
So that's what.
have you given him a phone yet or no? He has a
No.
phone?
No.
Oh.
No.
Till what age do you think it's like we should not give kids phones?
This is, I think, a very very subjective thing, but I feel once I might give him a phone when he turns 13.
Okay.
That's.
But is he asking for it? Is like, Mama, my other friends have phones. I
Yeah.
also want one.
He keeps telling, so I said that's okay. That's their parents' choice.
Yeah.
I mean, every parent, every kid has different set of things, set of rules. Every house has different set of rules.
Yeah, because I see a lot, like when I go out for dinner sometimes, I see these young parents, and these are these 3 or 4-year-old kids, and the kid starts crying, and first thing they do is they give them an iPad or a phone, and the kid starts watching iPad and phone, and then they're just eating and everything is okay. Like
So,
it's like
I would not say that I am not a culprit here. Okay, this practice, it does happen because
Yeah.
if you are going for a family dinner and the child is really cranky, is not getting involved and not letting us also eat. So yes, this is an escape. I won't say this is wrong.
But in
because-
this, you give your phone, or like what do you like? You give your phone.
Yeah, either mine
Yeah.
or my husband's, or they take it from their dada. Like we live in a joint family, so I have my father-in-law also. So whoever they think is an easy prey for them, they'll go and ask
Yeah.
that, okay, can I have? Or so yeah, one of us. They don't have their own phone. It's like that.
Yeah.
So there are all their school groups, all their school information. That is all also on my phone only. So I have not given any separate phone to them that keep it with you.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's kind of like this is the first generations of people who are growing up like this. If you think about it, like our generation didn't have any of this, didn't
Yes.
have this much technology. It all happened in last 20, 30 years, and especially in last 20 years, last 10 years actually, Instagram, Facebook, all happened in last 10, 15 years. So it's like it has changed so exponentially that these are the first generations that are growing up with this.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
as you know, like the mental health stuff is quite like we don't even know how it's going to impact them yet.
You know,
It's too early to say.
actually, it's literally you find withdrawal symptoms when we try. That screen is too much, and when a kid is not getting that much screen time, there are really withdrawal symptoms happening. It's just as you are, taking a drug and
Yeah,
you're not getting
I mean it's with adults, so I'm sure it's with
it,
kids. Like
it is
it's
too much with
adults.
kids. Yes.
It's a socially accepted addiction, totally.
Yeah.
Like with all of us. So like, how do you? Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I observe myself sometimes with my phone because I'm completely dependent on phone for everything. But I have this ability where I can see that how when I am just using it for no reason, like just on it for the sake of killing time or whatever, just not being present.
Yeah.
Then I watch it and I keep it away and I keep it away. I put it on airplane mode and then I go to sleep in a different room. Like I do those things. But it's interesting to see like how if adults have become so ingrained into this mechanism, like for kids growing up with this as a normal way of functioning, like this is their normal life now. Like us, we have some comparison from our childhood, like where we had no technology. Sometimes there was TV, Doordarshan used to come, and then we were out all day enjoying. Like I think that was a beautiful childhood, and like our kids are not getting that anymore.
So Kartikeya, do you remember dial-up phones?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something I really feel we come from a generation which has seen everything from that, the trunk calls to the PP calls to the dial-up phones, and now we are just like, so these kids, for them it's like, I mean, it's kind of, what are you talking? It's just like unheard from them.
Yeah, they don't even know.
Yes.
It's like another reality.
Yeah, so
another world.
That's it's coming straight from your book.
Like they
So
don't
it's
know
totally-
they don't know a world where there were no phones, there were no computers. Like I remember in 90s in India, like if somebody had a computer, people in the whole colony would go and see that computer.
Exactly.
What is a computer?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
like that time we grew up in. So like I cannot imagine growing up in today's world. Like it's just a different world completely. And it's all changed in 30 years. If you look at our parents' generation to their parents' generation, the change was there, but not so dramatic, like on a technological front. So I mean, in long term, and we don't even know where this is gonna go. Like how the way technology is evolving, and I mean, these kids, the kind of technology they will be creating. I mean, we're gonna be like old people, like, oh, what is this stuff happening now? How do they respond with this kind of independence and like the limitations on the screen time? Like, do they respond with positivity, or they're like no resentment, or like how do you?
So again, my elder one didn't actually get too much into screen. I guess it was very early signs I could see, and I just diverted him. But younger one, again, because I said most effective kids were 2 years and above.
Yeah.
So he was 2 years when COVID actually happened. So he got more into screen, and I had a tough time diverting him and getting him back on the track. It was a very tough time I had with him. It was not a very good reaction coming from him in the initial years. He literally used to throw fits when the screen was taken away.
Yeah,
but
it's like a drug.
Yes, exactly. It was just the same way he behaved, but slowly I introduced him to reading, which, touchwood, both the kids are like very much into. So the younger one also, and he didn't go to school actually. He went to school directly into senior KG. So he has not done his nursery and all the preschooling. He has not done. He's just gone straight to one of the eldest class in the pre-primary. So there I was a little worried that whether he will be able to learn or not, but he grew into a fast learner, and reading really made a difference. He started reading early and it really made a difference.
Giving them my book?
I think I should give them now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a child-friendly book? I don't know. What do you think?
I feel it's still time for them to go through that. Yeah. And yes, coloring, drawing, and then slowly he changed into, but it was not an easy job to get him off with the younger one.
Yeah.
I want to know something about your foot. What was the idea?
My foot? You want to know about my foot?
No, about the travel that which you did, right? That was some great stories coming up on the travel. I really want to know.
Yeah.
Where did it come to you from?
I have no idea, man. I have these crazy ideas. They just come from somewhere and everywhere, and I just go with them. That's basically it. Yeah, and it's something, we need to remind ourselves actually to not think so much and just go for it. Because, I feel like in whatever we do in life, we never really know what's going to happen anyways, so might as well go for it,
Just
see what happens. So I think that's also like what I try to remind myself, and also to the people nowadays. It's with all this technology and information age we live in, it's too much information and mind all the time. I think it's good to kind of come back to our bodies and just be present and just take action with our bodies and how we're feeling, And I think that is very, it helps us be more creative actually, because our mind is not limited to just the mind. That's only a very limited way of looking at it. Our intelligence is not limited to the mind. Our intelligence is beyond the mind and the body. And I think we're completely disconnected from that, especially in today's time. People are completely disconnected from it. So connecting back to that higher form of intelligence, which is beyond the mind and body, to then kind of channeling that intelligence in our hearts, to knowing what feels right for us, like what connects with us, because that's when we know if something is, we don't love somebody from our minds, we love them from our hearts. We know if we love them or not, heart will tell us. Same thing applies to things we do in life. So connecting with that high intelligence, then connecting with our hearts, to seeing what we love, and then using the mind to, use it as a manager. So the way I see it is kind of like the higher intelligence is a kind of like the whole scheme of things. Heart is kind of like the CEO, and the mind is like the manager in your corporate words. Yeah. So like when we kind of change, and right now it's the opposite. We're completely disconnected to the higher intelligence. We're completely blocked in our hearts, and we're just here in the mind. So we're operating on a very limited capacity. We're not using the multi-dimensional nature of our beings. So this is kind of what I try to bring into words with Unherd as well, because Unherd is a byproduct of COVID times. So I was kind of writing it when COVID was happening, and I was traveling in India. So I decided to kind of write this book as a idea of this movement in India, particularly about consciousness expansion, on a collective level, and getting people to kind of the biggest problem in India right now, especially with young people, it's not that they don't have the skills or the talent or the ability. It's it's the belief system that's the problem. The conditioning that's the problem. They don't know how to believe in themselves because they don't know who they are. you know. So you only believe in something you know what is there to believe. Right now, it's just so much superficial stuff is there, and so many conditionings and layers are there that people are completely disconnected with who they really are. So we need to break past that to first break all the eyes and all the layers and all these images and characters to arrive in that internal self, and then from there we understand who we really are, and bring that into the picture, and believing in that, to then creating what we are here to create. So that's when we unherd ourselves, So that was the idea about the title of the book, about this unherding. It's not about following the herd anymore. And this is the time, I personally believe, in India, where it's the right time to introduce these concepts on a bigger scale, because people are ready for not being religious anymore. There's become too much dogmatism and religious way of living in India for too long years. And I think now people are feeling that spiritual void. It's quite funny actually, because India has such a rich spiritual history, but we've completely gotten lost with it, and we have completely gotten sidetracked with the whole thing. We've made it into a religious thing, but it's not a religious thing. It's something inside us, and everybody has it inside them. So we're so lost in the outside that we're just completely disconnected with the inside. And then the whole approach needs to change on an individual and collective level. And I think the story I wrote in Unherd was also about that. And yeah, it's funny, you're in advertising world, and one of the main characters is also in the advertising world. So yeah, I'm sure you could relate with that more, because advertising is the whole facade, the whole image,
Yes.
selling
Yes.
and creating and all of that. So
Yes.
I think it's the awareness element that we need to really work on, because the more aware people become about everything, it's good for everyone. It's better for society, it's better for individuals, and it's a more harmonious way to move forward, because it gives us that foundation that we are currently looking for. All of us are looking for. We just don't know that we're looking for it. That's why so many dating apps keep coming up. So that's why so many people are looking for lovers and relationships and all of this all the time, because everybody's looking for that love, that deep, profound love, which you can find through devotion, through God, and all these things. We just don't know how to get there, and we're just so blocked here. So yeah, that's in brief.
On that, Kartikeya, I just want to understand. See, do you think self-love is the love, and that actually will give you the inner peace and that connect? Do you feel so?
I mean, self-love, like Instagram is a great place and a funny place at the same time, because everything in Instagram becomes very like hashtag, hashtag self-love has become a big thing now, as you're aware of. And it's great, like people are talking about self-love, and the idea is about loving yourself. But the way I want people, or with this book that I wrote and that I'm writing about as well, is I want people to go deeper in their understanding of love. Like love is not limited to the self. Like if you love yourself, you will automatically love others. Love is not just a feeling. Love is a force. And this is where we get it wrong. This is where all the stories of Bollywood and Hollywood about love and this and romanticization and this flamboyance and no reality in it. Like it's not true, like we're selling people lies all the time. And if people are not aware of it, they're living those lies, and they're not happy living those lies, and they don't know why. So we need to go into deeper than the equations of what is self-love. We need to go into self-inquiry, as in, am I in love with myself? Like, what does it feel like? What does that mean for me on a daily basis? and how does that manifest in my daily life when I am with somebody? Like all these things, like how do I create a scenario where I can love myself fully in a way where I can love the other person unconditionally? Like these kind of questions where we can create healthy spaces for ourselves and the other person involved. Because self-love is a great thing and we need to do it. We need to arrive in those spaces. But how do we know if we love ourselves or if we cannot share that with other people? It's hard to know that. So we need some reflection to know if we're loving ourselves, properly. Because if we are, like, I'll give you a very good example. A lot of people end up these days, like relationships, abusive relationships have become very common. Like I don't mean just physical abuse, like
Yeah.
mental, emotional,
Mental,
psychological, like all kinds of, there are different forms of abuse, and they've become more common um, because people are not able to, like, for example, like let's say you're with somebody and you need time for yourself and they know they need time for themselves, and they're giving that to each other, but somehow they're not able to live together somehow in peace. So something is not right, something is not reflecting properly. So if we are able to like take this as an opportunity from awareness perspective to see what's not working and why it's not working and resolve that internally, to transcend that, both people, then we have actually transcended something. We've transcended our trauma, transcended something. But if we're just with ourselves all the time and we are in self-love, it can be a bit misleading. It can be like another form of it can be a form of illusion, because you might not be touching deeper into the traumas and things that you need to see, which comes out when you're with somebody else. That's why relationships are very important, and health, like building and creating healthy relationships, are a lot of work. Uh, like that's why I am in a relationship, because when I'm alone in self-love, it's much easier. When you are with somebody, it takes work, because a lot of the gray areas you weren't aware of yourself from before come into the picture. And we need to give love to that, because it's giving love to our inner child, our inner traumas, all these stuff, that are very deep in the subconscious. So yeah, all these self-love things are great things to say and do on Instagram, but the real work will require you to go deeper, and deeper in yourself and deeper with the other person as well. And then figuring out how you want to, like what you really want out of life. Because love, as I said, it's not a feeling, it's a force. If you're using it as a feeling, you're using it as an escape mechanism. You're kind of, when you're not feeling good, you're like, oh, I want to do self-love now. It's like this or that. It doesn't work that way. Like if you really want to go deeper and release yourself from your things, you need to think love as a force. Like it's a force in me that guides me on my journey of where I need to go, where I need to go. So if we start looking at love as a force, as a place where we need to go towards, like as a decision, am I choosing, am I making decisions out of love or fear? Like if we start making love as an equation into our decision making on an everyday basis, like that changes everything. So then it's not a matter of self-love anymore. It's a matter of, are we choosing love in our every moment of our existence? So that this is a deeper quest in my opinion, and it will take people deeper if that's what they want. Some people don't want. It's okay. Everybody's on their own journey. But yeah. It's been a pleasure meeting you online. Wishing you the very best with your mental health journey, with your kids, with your family. You're doing an amazing work, because I mean, moms are always appreciated, but I think in today's time their work is more and harder actually, because there's just too many complexities on us. And I think, yeah, without moms and without awakened moms, the societies cannot change actually. So it's you are carrying the burden of our societies in many ways. So yeah, wishing you all the best and
Thank
looking forward to meeting all the moms of Mumbai.
Yes, yes, and I am looking forward for your next book, which you are on right now.
Yeah.
All the best to you too.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.